BS.
Thanks for joining us. This is your
Thanks
buddy.
for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
No! This is my nightmare.
This is my nightmare.
We're all Brian.
No! A special Halloween episode.
Special Halloween episode.
We are
of
many.
Super BS.
Super BS.
No!
And club sauce.
And spicy club sauce. Anyways, your boy Brian Wagner Broderson
Your boy
III.
Brank Brian Wigener Broderson III.
No! No more! And who is that? Copying every word I said.
The wind whispers, Donna.
The wind whispers. And who's join us?
Here, this is Professor Dr. Jank Jankerson the third.
Yeah, Jankerson third. Anyways, today is kind of special. Not only are we recording this very close to Halloween, but tomorrow is probably the biggest media release of the whole year.
That's right, Mario Ween.
Mario Ween,
Stranger Weens.
Stranger Weens 2,
Ooh, dude, I completely
Assassin's
forgot about
Ween
that.
Origins, and Wolfen Ween the second.
Weenenstein.
Wienerstein.
I just want to talk about that stuff with you guys. I know all of us here are excited about Mario, but what are your guys' opinions on
Only we had a platform for which you could talk to us.
I know,
about this stuff.
know.
It's
We
weird
should-
that we're just on a phone call.
we should start a podcast or something.
I don't think we'll ever do that. That would require time and energy, and we just don't have either. So, but no. What do you guys think about Assassin's Creed Origins? I want to talk about that first.
I'm pretty blah on it. It does look very pretty.
Yeah.
It's a game that I probably wouldn't consider getting until I found myself in possession of like an Xbox One X just for the max effect. Even if I picked up a PS4 Pro, I still probably wouldn't buy it for that. One, because I hate the controller, but also two, just because a game like that, it just sounds like it's like simplified in some good ways and overcomplicated in some bad ways, but it's supposed to be, pretty stunning. So I would play it for the, on the best version of it I could get, essentially.
Yeah, it just sounds fun to run around and jump.
It does,
and
but
climb.
nothing. I mean, I honestly wish they would just completely remaster Assassin's Creed 1 because
Cool.
to me that's the best one. It doesn't overstay its welcome like every other Assassin's Creed game, in my opinion. And it's short. It's full of mystery and intrigue, and it's cool and pretty. I mean, Egypt is definitely like a step in the right direction because ancient Israel was really cool too.
Yeah.
It's nice to be away from the Renaissance and the Victorian era.
Yeah.
Wait, we didn't spin any games there.
No games. Definitely not 3. But no.
But the other reason that I think that I'm going to pass on it for the time being is that regardless of whether it's a third-person game or a first-person game, Ubisoft basically makes the same game.
Yeah.
And it's a fine formula. It's not like a fine formula, but it's fine. It's okay. It's just, here's a map with all of this stuff highlighted on it. Go and slowly explore it until your map does not have as many dots on it. And it takes forever. And every Ubisoft game that comes out is like this, but more. And it's like, it's pretty tired, but it is an effective formula when once a year I can manage playing a game like that.
Yeah.
Because their stories are never as good as an actual RPG, which they're basically aping at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get burned out before Far Cry 5, which looks very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally
And even though those are two way different gameplay, they're also essentially the same. Like, here's your map, here's your side quest points, here's your vantage points to explore the map further. Here's your
Yeah, I really like that formula, but I can only handle it in small doses, kind of like we talked about.
There was an
can't
exception.
do-
It's not super open world, but it kind of is. Was the Tomb Raider reboots?
Oh,
those
that's
games,
great. Yeah.
that was fun.
those games seem to just be like actually fun Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, man, those games are great. I want to talk still more about this before we even just move on to Wolfenstein. But real quick about what you were saying about remaster, and this is kind of dipping into the news, but Xbox One X is going to enhance 4 360 games, and one of those games is the original Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
So-
that's right. I read that.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, why don't they just reboot it?
I-
Or not reboot, but
mean,
remaster.
I-
Well, that would be Microsoft's jam.
Yeah.
Is this upscaling? Whereas that would be Ubisoft's jam is to remake it.
oh,
Yeah,
got it.
'cause
Okay.
Microsoft's not making any money off this. Is a very goodwill thing. You know, they just decided to do. I want to say it's Fallout 3, Assassin's Creed.
I hope that
and
becomes a
Xbox.
thing they do for more games. Because
Yeah.
I would, if it was Fallout New Vegas, I would be
There's a
done.
there's a lot of 360 games I would go back and play.
Well, they.
sure.
I mean, yeah, we'll get into backwards compatibility later because that also happened. This week is like crazy when you
Yeah.
think about it. But what do you?
Real quick, I do want to talk about.
Yeah,
Assassin's
no, that's
Creed
what
for
I
a
was
second.
getting to, yeah.
This is the thing. Like Assassin's Creed, I never played those games because I actually enjoyed playing them. I played them because they were something to do.
I don't know.
So
I mean,
that was-
I love the second one. That was
yeah.
actually a game
The first
like,
and
played all of
second
it.
games, like I really enjoyed because I thought that the story was compelling. But you know, ever since they killed Desmond and they haven't really been dabbling.
Spoiler alert,
Yeah, sorry.
jerk.
Whoop, there we go. And they haven't really been dabbling in what's been going on in the future or in the present time. It seems like there is no story. You're just you're these characters. They have a story for these characters in the past, but you're just doing the same things over and over and over. You're killing Templars. You're tracking a guy who wants to get the Apple of Eden and rule the world or whatever. And it's
That is just his aliens.
yeah, and then it's just aliens. And they had we were talking about this before, where they killed Desmond. They had this big the Mayan gods came back, or not Mayan gods, but the aliens came back, and
It was like the Roman gods in 2, wasn't it?
Minerva
like Venus
is like
and
Venus,
stuff?
Minerva, or something like
Yeah.
that. But they didn't really elaborate on that afterwards. So what was the point of all that? So
Hey,
It would have been great if what they did with the modern day side was eventually you play as Tom Hanks in what's
Da Vinci Code?
Da Vinci Code. Yeah.
That would be awesome. No, I mean, I think a lot of us were hoping that Desmond was going to be the assassin because that was what the game was leading up to, and you'd get there over time.
Right, that was like the coolest sounding thing.
See,
And they could have done spin-offs
like
to
a-
explore these other
Yeah.
time periods, but
like
they didn't do it.
a Watchdog type Assassin's Creed game featuring Desmond would have been a lot of fun to play, and it would.
And they spent too much time getting there. This is the problem with success with like AAA games is that it becomes this thing where it's like I would bet that whoever originally created Assassin's Creed had like a very maybe open-ended but also like very specific story arc vision involving
Yeah.
Desmond and all
Right.
this kind of stuff. But then the series did really well, and they're like, well, why don't we
That-
just milk it?
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
a
I
bummer.
don't think that it was ever intended to be an annual release.
Yeah.
I think that they released Assassin's Creed 1, and just because it was so well received, they decided to basically do what you just said. And
Yeah.
so with Origins, Origins looks absolutely stunning. Like it's a very beautiful looking game. But my concern is, you know, they're bragging about all these new like RPG elements. You're leveling up your weapons. You have the hawk or whatever. But once you get past all of these like cool new features, is it just going to be the same Assassin's Creed? More tower climbing, more area unlocking, more little meaningless side quests, races, and whatnot.
But at least, very least, and this is from I almost speak against Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
as much as I do Tales games, but
Our favorite
I find
series.
I find the Middle East like a way more fascinating subject of exploration than Europe.
Oh, for sure.
So it is not like at the very least it's in Egypt again, which is cool.
Yeah, I was
Um,
always hoping that they would have at one point, and maybe they still will since we don't know how long the series is going to last, but explore like being a ninja in Japan. I know
would be- yeah.
everybody wants that, but like
they
it
had
could
that,
be really cool.
That side scroller one where you were in China.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
was
the,
I
all the
played
all the
those.
countries that Ubisoft doesn't like, they got
When the
side
side
scroller
scroller-
games.
Yeah, it was Russia,
Yeah.
Turkey, I want to say, and
That's
China.
weird because the Russia one they were selling for a long time, like in the
Russia, India.
They had
Yeah.
comic books, and they had like a whole line of comic books. So everyone's like, "Oh, cool! The next game's gonna be in Russia," and then it's like, "Oh, hey, we're back in the
Oh
Renaissance."
yeah, India. That would have been another one that would have been such a
Yeah.
cool, rich environment to explore.
Yeah, for sure.
But we got it as a side scroller. It's not even very. I mean, it's not bad. I
Yeah.
played it, but it's like a game that should be $2 to $3, like,
Yeah.
and probably should only last 2 hours.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like like as soon as they decided to make Ezio 3 games,
Yeah.
I knew that the series was done.
It's just, it is such a bummer because we all, now looking back, it's like, oh my goodness, it's so easy to see that was their biggest mistake, is instead of giving the games time to breathe like they did 1 to 2, they started doing a yearly annualized franchise, and then they threw everything out the window with 3 because I assume Revelations didn't sell well enough, so they maybe just were like, just do what you want.
In Revelations' defense, so it was kind of cool to go back and see what happened to Altair.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. I didn't actually play Revelations. I played Brotherhood 2. Played almost all of them, not to the end. The only one I've actually beaten is 2. 2. But,
Yeah, Altair is still my favorite. I know everyone
cool.
loves Ezio.
Well, I think
but-
it was a lot of it has to do with the game too, because
Yeah.
Altair's game is very repetitive, whereas not that Assassin's Creed 2 is not repetitive, but it had a lot more stuff to do.
Yeah.
Whereas you always had to do those. Do you remember the missions in Assassin's Creed 1? You go to the area, you do these same side quests, you have to do X amount
Yeah.
of them, unlocks the assassination.
But it wasn't that long. That's the thing.
It wasn't
that
long.
saved
It was a good game. It just, I remember by the 3rd town you go to, I was
Yeah.
like, and that's
'Cause every Ubisoft game now, except for the one we'll talk about later, is super repetitive. But their mantra is just we'll add more stuff to do
Yeah.
to distract from the
and
repetitiveness.
that's like when I get to the point where I'm not after the initial story, I'm over it, and then I just sit there and play it because it's something to do. It's more like something to keep my mind busy instead of actually enveloping me into the story and the game itself.
Well, what do you guys think about Wolfenstein 2? Because that also comes out tomorrow.
This looks fun. I usually once or twice a year have a craving just because since I play mostly RPGs, which
Yeah.
are either open world and really complicated, or they're linear but really demanding, time wise. A lot of times, a good single player first person shooter is
Yeah.
just the funnest freaking thing.
I wish I still felt that way. What about you, Josh?
Wolfenstein. Okay, so I've been playing the first one this past week, just
Okay.
going back to it. It's a very intriguing world. It's and it's not super repetitive. There's all kinds of new weapons you pick up on your way
Yeah.
as you're walking around, and the story keeps you interested. It's not. I see why they don't have multiplayer, because it's just it would take away from the single player experience.
Yeah, I want to love single player first person shooters, and I actually really like the Halo 5 campaign. That was probably the last time, but I played that in co-op, so I guess that doesn't count. But that was the last time I can remember a linear shooting game that I really, really enjoyed. But I tried getting into Doom. I tried getting into Wolfenstein 1. They're really cool games. I see that. I know that. But I can't get myself to really get invested into it. So as cool as this new one looks, because I think it looks amazing. Those trailers made me. I mean, I might get on Switch just to have it another game on Switch that I can play on the go. But
Both I think both Wolfenstein, Bethesda's their shooter franchise Wolfenstein and Evil Within. Those are games that I can't sit and play in one sitting. I'm kind of I can't like you said, I can't invest a lot of time into it. It's something that I just keep going back to as time goes on.
I did
Yeah,
that with Doom a lot.
it doesn't have a high. I mean, maybe if you're playing them on really high difficulties, that would be rough. Is going back to them once a month, because you lose you have to regain your muscle memory and stuff.
Right.
To play it well, but for the most part, that's the other thing, is that there's typically a low investment in getting back into a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter. I'd throw Gears of War in the same bit. It's linear and cool.
Yeah.
And
I had a hard time getting into that too. I loved it. When I did get to play the co-op bits, I loved what I saw, and it reminded me of a Fast and Furious movie. But
Yeah.
I just did you guys end up beating 4?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know you did it. We should play co-op.
This is
hate co-op.
this is
No.
For Gears of War, this is the one thing I think that has going for them that helps keep you interested, is the fact that they have the dialogue between the characters is kind of like if you were out there trying to survive the apocalypse with your friends, it'd be some stuff that you would be saying to each other.
I mean, if I was a giant meathead, yeah,
You're a
but
giant meathead and-
I still do. I love the bro talk of Gears of War.
Oh yeah, it's the Fast and Furious of.
Video games.
It
Video games.
really is.
But it's great. I mean, that's the thing. I love the whiny argument of oh, it's just bros and big buff guys.
Yeah.
It's you want to see one of these 4chan PlayStation nerds holding machine guns that weigh that much?
Yeah.
They can't do it. I can hold a mouse.
I would love to see the Japanese version of Gears of War with a character who's like super.
Oh, it was like a 6-year-old?
and a giant like gun like 10 times the size.
A 6-year-old army general with powers.
The Cloud Strife sword of guns.
And it's a girl soldier who wears a bikini armor,
Yeah.
but she's 6.
but she's 6 also. Nice. Before we
It's-
move on
it's art.
to the big game of the week, I wanted to bring up. So I noticed that the Wolfenstein reviews came out today, a day before the game dropped, and I noticed that the Evil Within reviews came out pretty close to the game dropping too. Do you think Bethesda's backtracked on their policy to not send out review copies, or
No, because I think these are much smaller scale games.
Oh, okay.
And they're not developed by Bethesda proper, so I think they're probably not. Because I think usually the review embargo for Bethesda has to do with how buggy their games usually are at release.
Yeah, well, just like Dishonored 2, people didn't get the reviews up last year because they had said that, like, oh, we're not gonna let you guys get the
Oh,
reviews
maybe.
earlier.
Well,
So I was just curious, like,
Forgot
didn't
about
that, what came out first? Was it Dishonored 2 or Prey? Because I know Prey caused them a
Dishonored
lot
2.
of grief.
It was Dishonored 2 was last year, and then Prey was this spring.
Okay, yeah,
So-
because Prey 2 caused them a whole lot of grief. So I
On the
understand,
reviewer's
like-
side, where like IGN gave him a 3 because he
Yeah.
couldn't finish it,
So I mean,
and then he changed it.
I understand why they would be weary about letting reviewers get copies early.
Well, I mean, the Prey is an example of why they should let reviewers get copies early, because the IGN guy gave it a 3 because it didn't work. Like, if they would give them the copies early, they would actually be able to get those bugs
But
figured
Yeah,
out.
and
Like,
those 3s are a big deal because Bethesda doesn't pay people based on
Yeah.
Metacritic. So
yeah. Oh yeah, that's stupid. Oh, I think that's only I hope that's only subcontracted companies, but that is the Fallout New Vegas thing where I think they need to get a higher than 80 Metacritic.
no, I think it was like they were only like 1 point off.
Yeah, I thought there was a 78 they had, and they needed an 80 to get their bonuses, and it was like the dumbest thing ever.
Really?
This was back when Metacritic's still important from what I understand, but nothing like it used to be. Like every Metacritic used to decide pretty much how a game would sell, and now like games like PUBG that don't even have Metacritics are like the top selling games.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get to the big game though, Stranger Things season 2, it's coming out tomorrow. We all love the first one.
but it's not a game, so shut up.
It's not so Are you guys stoked for it though?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the first trailer. What made it look a lot more intriguing than the second 2 trailers? Was that for you guys too, or was am I the only
I
one
really
in
watched
that?
trailers.
I tried to not see too much. I didn't want to get spoiled. I have read though, like some reviewers critiquing like that it's a little bit slower than the last season, and I know it's supposed to be darker. Which
Reviewers love to critique things.
But no, like I'm really excited for Stranger Things season 2. It's the kind of the parts of it that I liked, where like the kids going around and like I don't know.
I read something that there's like a theory that it's going to be based on some urban legend that has to do with, I forget, but we'll see. I
Stranger
guess.
Things season 2, like
Yeah.
the boss type. The only thing is that's the thing is like not the enemy, whatever you call it, like the creature doesn't look very scary from what I've seen in the trailers.
That's what I'm curious about. Like, is he just one, or are there many like that? Because if you remember in the last season, they showed him when
Metagorgon or whatever they call them. from the-
yeah, but when
Demigorgon.
when what the cop and the mom were running through the woods, you saw there was a couple eggs that were hatched. So it made me like wonder like what else is in this
Yeah,
shadow
the
dimension,
upside down world.
Yeah, but at the heart of Stranger Things, it basically is a retelling.
Story about Barb.
Yeah, a story about
Barb. That is like the internet's favorite character though, and and she is awesome. Like that character.
From what I
She
understand,
reminds me of the character in South Park, the one where where all the girls Photoshop themselves to look hot even though they're ugly.
Oh,
The girl that they make fun of in the beginning that does it first, who has like her front like tucked into her shirt like tucked into her pants in the front or whatever.
nice.
Like redhead and
Yeah, Barb's a character though that you like root for, and even though she's such a small like kind of character that like disappears because she's like that friend who's like, I care about you and I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Die.
Yeah, dead. From what I understand, the dad actually has like a pretty big role in this season because he's been
which dad?
Barb's dad.
What?
Oh.
Yeah,
I
'cause-
don't.
'cause
Did they even show the parents in the last
he's
season?
been
No.
he's been like trying to find out what happened to his daughter. They showed like a scene in the trailer where like his office has all these posters.
That would make
hanging up
sense
and
because I
stuff.
did read that like Barb won't be back, but they're gonna like do justice to her or something.
Okay.
Right.
I just assumed that meant some type of closure, but that is better sounding.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they killed off a character last season because I feel like if there were no repercussions at all, or there would be like no like.
Well, let's face it. People did like her character because she was endearing. She wouldn't have really had a place in the rest of the season, without dragging it down a little bit.
Yeah, but I just think, I mean, I don't want to get too much more into this, but I just think that they need to show that there's risks. There's things at stake, and so I'm glad they did that. It's a bummer that they did it to a character who's actually like a good person, but, that's how it's
Going to be a lot of stake in Stranger Things Season 2.
Okay, to the game of the hour, the one that we're all stoked on tomorrow. Let's just talk about the coolest things we've seen about Super Mario Odyssey, since we haven't got a chance to play it yet. It drops tonight if you're getting it digitally, or tomorrow. What is each of you just tell me one cool thing that you saw that you're like, oh, this looked really, really cool? Because I've seen way too many pictures and videos.
Mario's nipples.
Mario's nipples. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Now, what about you, Josh?
I like the different types of worlds that you're going through, because the last few Mario games have been it's been different. It's kind of been the same, but with this, you're in.
Wait, which ones are you referring to though?
Yeah, Super Mario 3D World actually has a pretty big variety. It's just that it's a different feeling game.
Yeah, I'm curious which game you're actually.
Well,
referring
I mean, okay, so this might be a bad comparison. The last actual Mario game I played was Mario 64, but
what? That game has so much diversity. When was this next one that you played that didn't have a lot of level diversity? That game has that literally covers every region in a game.
Yeah,
is there a jungle in Mario 64?
I don't.
Okay, so there's maybe no jungle and no beach, but
No
they
forest.
have
There's kind of there's water levels.
Yeah, they have 2 or 3 water levels, 2 fire levels, sand level.
That's right.
They've got 2 snow levels.
Clock.
Yeah, I mean
A
they have
rainbow.
Do you think they will ever remaster Mario 64 for the Switch?
Nintendo is the last
Whatever.
company that would ever do
Yeah.
that. Although
Or-
it would
I
be
mean,
a
I'd
great.
play it instantly,
or
but yeah.
re-release it so you can play it on.
Well,
the
yeah,
go.
we'll see a
that would be
re-release
fun.
of
I would
the
love that.
64 original. I mean, we probably should save this for news, but we'll talk about it anyways. Nintendo, with their new update, added GameCube controller support. So a lot of people think that this might be the coming of GameCube games and
Dude,
Virtual
the
Console.
internet is just on fire with speculation about what's going on.
I read
with
that was just a confirmation that Smash is going to come.
Which is fine with me. That game, that Smash is the best. I'm so sad it was on Wii U, where we played it 2 times, because that is the 8-player mode and all the fun. It's so much fun.
Well, if they did it for Mario Kart, I don't see. It just seems like a logical decision to do it for Switch also, or Bash also.
Yeah, I just, this has been a crazy week.
Brawl.
Well, no,
Sorry.
Wii U. The last one is,
Wasn't it?
Oh, you're talking about Melee for the GameCube.
What was the one on Wii U?
That was called Super Smash Bros. Wii U. Brawl was the Wii game that we all played,
Got
but
it, okay.
they stopped giving it. A lot of people call it Super Smash Bros. 4, but it's just called Super Smash Bros. For Wii U or Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. But no, yeah, me personally, for Super Mario Odyssey, the coolest picture I saw was today of somebody playing as a T-Rex and going through the forest with a jump kick or something like that. I am so excited to explore these worlds.
The hat mechanics, right? That
Yeah, the
lets you
hat
take
mechanic.
over-
The only frustrating thing I read, and I don't know if you guys pay attention to this in the review, is a lot of people say the best way to play is with the Joy-Cons separated because there is motion control.
Did read that. That's very upsetting.
Yeah, and they said the Pro Controller, which is my favorite to play with, is not the best way. They said it's better than handheld, which is also one of my favorite ways to play the games. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to play it with Joy-Con separated. I think I will literally figure out how to do it any other way, because that sounds miserable.
Yeah, I just also just the fact that they're still putting motion controls are such a,
Kinect died, man.
I know,
Everybody
that's what I was
knows
gonna
it.
say. It's Microsoft was smart. There's all this motion stuff no one really liked.
I mean, it only
And
took
that's the same thing with Move and with
Yeah.
Wii U.
it only took Microsoft
I mean, not Wii
10
U.
years to
7.
realize
It was 7 that I was around, but it wasn't like they were. The first Kinect did really well. Our news. I'm wondering what we're gonna talk about. But the first Kinect did super duper well. It sold 25 million copies or something like that, which is, I think, more than the Move ever even got near. So it was a really, really well sought after item, and it was cool. It didn't work all the time, but it was really fun when you got to work and to play games. I loved the voice function in the Xbox One. I still use Cortana as much as she's not as good as the original Xbox Play, Xbox Pause, whatever. But yeah, it's a bummer. It's the end of an era, but Let's get to what we've been playing, because there is still a ton more to talk about when it comes to game releases. We're at the end of the year. We got some cool stuff we're working on too. Donna, what you been playing?
I've been playing Undertale, which I'm almost done with.
Yeah, where are you in that? That was like one of my favorite games this year.
I just had a meal with Sans at the end.
Okay.
Where he tells you knock knock jokes a lot.
So that
He
is
talks about the mystery door.
So that is after you get the achievements for the final stretch, part 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, because that's still, you've got some stuff going. Like
Yeah.
not like a lot. Oh no, you're not. Are you in the restaurant with him at the hotel? Or are you past that?
I just passed that.
Okay, so you're at the very, very end. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You're very close. Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So I'm doing that. It's pretty great. Certain things feel like it drags on just a little bit, but
Yeah, I think that has to do with like no run button too. A run button would have helped that game so much, like just being
Yeah.
able to move slightly quicker, but it
Yeah.
would have been more
I
frames.
think the
in
thing that
motion.
actually really makes it drag on is just unlocking the final stretch trophies. because you're like, oh, final stretch, and then
Yeah.
it's like 3 more times.
Yeah. I think they put that in there as a joke, but yeah, that is like when you think you're almost done. That is another game that you've been playing. Before we get to that though, have you played anything else before we're going to talk about the big one?
A little bit of Stardew Valley.
Okay. Oh, you got it on Switch?
Yeah,
How do you like it?
it's fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
cool.
I'm not that style of game isn't, I'm not huge on it. Have anything else that you played? No worries if not. Just for
No.
all the okay. Let's talk to Josh, because this one that you played we'll talk about quite a bit because it's a great game. Josh, what have you been playing, man?
So like I mentioned earlier, I played a little bit of Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
No, not a lot to report on that. I did check out Gran Turismo, the new
Sport.
one. It's not good.
Yeah,
It's just really
that's what I've
not
heard.
good. Like everyone was super stoked about it, and I guess I don't know. Like, is it a main entry
Were
in
people?
the series?
Yeah, that's weird. I
don't
thought
know.
it was supposed to be like good again or something.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people said, and then people played it, and it's like, so here's just from what I understand from stats. Forza 7 has about like 700 vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Gran Turismo Sport has 150. Gran Turismo Sport also doesn't have like if I'm correct, a campaign mode at all.
No, it
you can
doesn't.
only play timed like multiplayer races or like competitions at certain times of the year.
Yeah, and the actual like
so real.
girth of the game, you can't play till November 4th, and that's like a when like a lot of the maps and stuff come out and the
course you
actual
sell
like,
Turismo.
races. But it's
Of course, you sell it early then.
and
Of course,
you
it is on
can't-
PlayStation. So
and they
it's
this
the best. Yeah.
That makes
it's
it
like this
best.
game is aimed toward like people who seriously want to take up racing for a living. Like you can't go around and push people around, and you can't like you get deck points. Like
Yeah, dock
it's
points, yep.
it's like a big thing is like sportsmanship. It's like an anti-bullying game. So
Yeah, they have. I've heard that the sportsmanship videos you have to watch like a series of them. I also heard they link to YouTube. Is that correct? Like you have to
Yeah.
click on videos and it sends you to YouTube.
yeah, it's all like you can't play this game without an internet connection.
What is
And
wrong?
It's just Sony in-house, right?
yeah,
yeah,
I think so.
I spent about 3 hours playing this
For the
game,
players.
and I'm gonna trade it in. I'll probably trade in for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Oh man, I just don't. I mean, I'm not a big racing game fan, anyways. But I loved like Gran Turismo 1 and 2. I got them on PlayStation 1. I liked playing them. They were a lot of
Oh,
fun.
they were great, and like just the way that you I mean, I didn't like the license test, but the way that it actually had like a path for you to play like single player, and you just sit there and have fun playing it. But they want so badly to be like different from Forza and Project Cars and stuff like that, and I think they just buried themselves in that attempt.
All right, so what I've been playing and what Donna played a lot of is South Park Fractured Butthole. But Donna, I want you to talk about it more because you actually beat it. I only got to the bits, so I'll add a
Where
little
did you
bit.
stop?
I am right now at You Store It.
Store It?
Yeah, I'm like about to. I don't want to give away
Okay.
too much to people, but there's about to be a confrontation.
There's like a whole second,
yeah.
like not half of the game, but it's like the plot will change
Yeah,
after this. So
I love everything I've played so far. It's just with other stuff going on right now, it's been really hard to like sit down like and just
Yeah.
focus on it. But what do you think of it? You beat the whole game.
yeah, it was great. Super funny. Just it had less. It had actually. Well, I don't know if it had less. It definitely had some moments towards the end that were like the first one where it
Were
was
they
like,
just crazy like spaceship?
Yeah, crazy like that. It did feel a little less crazy. Like
Yeah.
the U.S. government doesn't ever get involved.
Oh, okay.
So
There's
it-
no abortions on.
I'm not going to say whether or not an abortion clinic is part of the game.
Okay.
But there's no like the scale becomes very large, but it's all contained within South Park, which obviously you know the whole game of Stick of Truth stayed within South Park, but I meant the plot became like a world issue.
Yeah.
Where it was like, you know, all of this like the zombie Nazis. The zombie Nazi fetuses, and then like
that was so
the
great.
government was involved, the Taco Bell bid, and
I wish they would be willing to travel outside of South Park as well. Not because like South Park's not great and there is a lot there. Okay, I don't want.
Canada.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like in this new one, do similar stuff as well. Like
Yeah.
I feel like they must have an episode of the show where they go.
Yeah, was
to a
that
different
one
place.
where Cartman rides his big wheel to
Oh yeah, and they're trying to go get Family Guy stopped, right? So
Yeah.
they don't blow up. Oh man.
Oh man, but yeah, so I guess my big, and that's not really a complaint because it's still hilarious, and it definitely, I mean, it was written by the South Park dudes, so like, you know,
Yeah.
it's very much true to South Park. But I think for one thing that was just so great about the Stick of Truth was it really had that like, how insane can this get South Park kind of thing.
Yeah,
and this
that's great.
game gets pretty insane. It just doesn't, the scope does not feel, the stakes are not as high, I guess I
Yeah.
should say. But it is pretty funny, and there's there's a lot of funny stuff that happens at the end it's pretty out there. And there's a couple things where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're making me do this.
If I was to pick one beef with the game, I would say it's the leveling up system. I actually think the battle system is a lot better than I worried about. I was originally worried, like I was like, this looks like it's not gonna be fun. You know, how are they gonna do it? I think it's pretty good. Like every battle I've played, I've enjoyed, but I don't feel it's very challenging. And then I feel like I'm only at level 6. I don't know how many, or rank 6. I don't know how many ranks you get in the game, but it doesn't feel like there's many.
So I think I'm at rank 12 or something.
Okay.
But unless this is going to be covered in DLC, which is very
Yeah.
much a possibility, basically you stop getting benefits for ranks at 9.
Oh, you don't get any more artifacts that you can hold or whatever?
No, yeah, I think you have your artifacts, and I think you get 8 artifact slots and 1 DNA slot.
Okay, yeah.
And then that's where it's at. That stops there.
Oh man, do you get more like health or anything when you level?
I don't think anything happens with rank unless I haven't been paying attention to stats.
Okay.
But
See, that to me was like one of my favorite things about Stick of Truth is even though the level cap was pretty low, I want to say it was 20, like it was fun to like put points in the trees and
Yeah.
do like the RPG stuff.
I don't really mind the leveling up in this game. I think the artifact system is definitely clever because it's a way to make fun of superhero movies.
Yeah.
And it fits in with the theme of the game pretty well. The only complaint I have about it is that it seems less flexible because you start to have like power ratings, like where quests will say like, oh, you need to be, or might ratings, you need to have like 500 might to really do well in this quest, which is it's not so rigid that like you can't. Like,
Yeah.
I went into one pretty severely underpowered and didn't realize it and almost came out on top. So it's definitely possible with like the right strategy and items and stuff. But the thing that I don't love so much is that it's hard to, because you have to choose artifacts, and the end game stuff that you find is good, and then the other things are really expensive. Like you don't make a lot of money in this game. I think in the entire, like at the end of the game, I think I have maybe $200, and there's artifact recipes that cost $80, and then the components cost $10, and it's like,
Is there a way to farm money in this?
not that I've
Is it-
found. And there's also like to take a picture with, there's like, there's someone has a death warrant out for you at some point in the game, and the only way to like take a selfie with that person is you have to buy the contract, and it's $5,000.
Oh wow.
And then
okay, I've never even had very much money in the game.
right,
at
no, that's
all.
what I'm saying. I think total I've probably had like $500 in the entire game that I've
Wow.
spent.
Yeah.
So I think like right now I want to say in my wallet is like 180.
Oh.
and I don't spend it on much. Like I buy, things, and then same like for the Raisins girls to take the selfies with them, you have to buy the passes that are $40 each.
Oh man.
So it's like I'm not quite sure that I understand that unless there is a way to farm money that I've completely overlooked.
Maybe there's like I don't even know.
There is a bank mini game, but I think I've only done it once because it was part of the story.
Okay.
And I think I made like $100 out of it or something. But
Was it very long or no?
no, it wasn't very long, but it's all chance, so you can
Oh, okay.
bankrupt yourself.
Oh,
Um,
okay. It's a gambling type mechanic.
Yeah, but maybe it'll be different. Like maybe they left things like that so that there's more to do when DLC comes out. They're definitely gonna go elsewhere from South Park in a DLC.
Oh, okay. So some of the stuff you see on the map, you don't get to actually explore in the game.
You can go everywhere on the map. You can go to.
Even the stuff on the backs of the map. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So
Okay.
top left is like the last big dungeon in the
Okay.
game. Top right, you can't actually go to the place, but you can go. I want to spoil this because it's just so funny.
Don't.
It's
I'm
not.
almost
It's not a
there.
story thing.
Okay. Okay. What is it? What is it?
A Trump-style wall has been built in front of a northern bordering nation. So-
Nice. Of course.
So when you go to that bordering nation, there's just a guy sitting on top of the wall saying you can't come in, but maybe for a DLC.
yeah, I love that. I totally forgot about that episode. That's where the wall of the douche is being built
Yeah.
to stop Canadians from coming in.
So,
Oh man.
so it's not really a spoiler because it's in
No.
an episode. But yeah, so they just the guy says like I don't know, maybe a DLC like that kind of thing in their Canada voices.
Oh man.
So you can explore everywhere that you can see on the map. There's a couple. I mean, there's a couple side quests. I haven't found all the yaoi. I haven't found all the member berries.
Yeah.
But
I hope
yeah,
those aren't missable. I haven't gone online.
I don't
to
think
read,
so.
but-
Yeah, the game is still overall pretty great. I'm assuming because there doesn't seem for crafting level
yeah.
and for rank there hasn't been a cap so far.
Okay.
Like I think I've passed crafting level 20.
Oh wow. Okay. I can't find materials anymore like glue, and I'm not going to spend money on it because I don't have that much. So.
But glue's only like 50 cents.
Yeah, I know. I probably should. I just can't.
That's like
craft
what I've
stuff.
spent my money on is things like glue.
Yeah,
Because it's just I just go and buy 10 or 15.
and you don't find many of them.
Yeah.
You know, you find very few.
But you find the main components that are really costly, like all the scrap, you find millions of. So
Yeah. Man, that game is so funny. I mean, even just the first night, and a lot of people talk about this before, the strip club that you go to is just the dumbest, funniest. Like, some of the battles there are amazing.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So I haven't played this game yet. I want to play it, but
great.
how does the gameplay work? Do you pick a team of people, or are you just playing by yourself and you join
ba-
up with
it's
people?
like so there is parts of the story that determine what people you have available to play, with the obvious fact that at the end of the game you can have everyone, but what it basically works is whoever's available, you have for the early parts of the game you don't have much to choose from or any choices to make, because it's just like you basically in combat you can fight with 4 people including yourself.
Do you pick them, or is it just
Well,
according to who's
in
where?
the earlier parts of the story you don't really pick them because you just have 4 people basically, but then as it goes on you pick everyone at the start of every combat.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and still even where I am, which I would say probably is halfway point because I'm at second night,
Yeah.
you still have at least one locked party member, and then you have 2 you can choose from, and at the pool's maybe 4 people total, so I could maybe switch out 2 people.
How do deaths work though? Do you have HP or?
Yeah, you have
is it-
HP, but it's not permanent or anything. You
Okay.
It's permadeath.
just permadeath. Yeah, permadeath. South Park.
And so my last question: can you revive people if they?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't need to though. At least in my experience, I only fought one battle where I ever revived someone, but I know it gets harder later.
I revive people a lot. There's a couple battles where if you make one wrong move, you will spend time reviving people. Where it's like, oh, you forgot to move your character, and then now you have to revive them. But when the thing that I would really complain about is that there's not a very good, so far I can't craft good revives. So when you revive someone, they come back with 20 HP
Yeah,
and
that's
are
why-
immediately attacked.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it's useful to revive. Normally, I would
Yeah.
just if there's like one guy left, I just finish
Yeah.
the battle because why?
There's a couple things like there's an achievement I got for having everyone die except for one person and finishing a battle.
I got that one too on Sheila.
Yeah. So there's things like that make it fun. A hard one that I got really easily, but there's only a couple battles where it's that easy to get.
Yeah.
Is if you do the time fart pause where you can go punch people.
Yeah.
In battle, if you finish a battle that way.
Oh, really? Okay, that's a cool way because that way is actually kind of fun. Like
Yeah.
I'd use that normally early on. I'll just try to
Just
save
do
till
it
the end.
on a battle with only one person in it.
Oh, and then just kill him. Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Let's start.
There's a couple battles where you help the police arrest people.
Yeah.
Where there's very low HP. You could do it in one move.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
okay, I need to. Oh man, I can't wait for that. I think that's later on this night or maybe the final.
I think it's the next day.
Oh, the next day. Let's start talking about the news because there's a ton of it. One of the coolest pieces of news that happened this week was the original Xbox, the one back in 2001. I want to say maybe 2002. A lot of like 12 or 13 games are now backwards compatible on Xbox One. Like, and some of those games are great, like Ninja Gaiden Black, Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, Crimson Skies, like.
Yeah, that's a Knights of the Old Republic. That's freaking awesome.
And it's cool. Like you can go on the store right now and buy the games for $10. And I'm gonna pick up Ninja Gaiden Black soon. I haven't got to try it, but I heard it has widescreen support. I've heard they run really well. Like it's just such a cool goodwill thing. Do you guys have any old original Xbox games you guys are looking to try out?
So we've already talked about this briefly,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna make sure I talk about it now to interrupt Josh. who
Okay.
really looked like he was about to say something.
You got me.
he leaned in with this smile, and I was like, wait.
Not gonna happen this time, bro, Chacho.
We talked about Morrowind, which
Yeah.
seems. I think it's suspicious that it wasn't released right away. Suspicious of maybe that Bethesda
Just gonna
won't
hold it
let
back.
them because they're going to do something to just make us pay full price for it again.
Yeah, which I could see.
Which could be good. I mean, hey, if they even put Morrowind in the Skyrim engine, I mean, there's been fan projects for years. There's the Cyrodiil one.
Skywind, isn't that the one?
Skywind is
Yeah.
the one.
That's Morrowind.
That's the
and
newest
Skyrim.
one.
Yeah.
There's the one for Morrowind and Elder Scrolls 4 also.
Yeah, the Oblivion one.
Oh,
That's one of the. Sorry, real quick. That is one of the games that's getting an upgrade, like for the Xbox One X.
Elder Scrolls 4?
Yeah, Oblivion.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
totally forgot.
Oblivion is really unbalanced at the end because of the
Yeah.
leveling mechanics, but man, it's a pretty fun
Yeah, it's a great game. I
yeah,
just
it's-
I hated like the Oblivion gates themselves, but otherwise I love the game.
The problem with the Oblivion gates is just the fact that you could continuously get levels after your stats capped out.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible system because you can't. It's like if you max out your strength, but you keep getting levels up, the monsters get exponentially stronger, but your strength doesn't. So
Yeah.
I just ended up after I missed.
the Oblivion gates became for me to beat the game and stuff because you have to do
Yeah.
so many of them. They became like stealth missions.
Yeah.
I would just run through
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
that's
exactly.
exactly
That's
what
what
I
I'm
did.
saying.
Yeah.
Destroy them, and then
I
I
would
would run
run-
away. I wouldn't fight anybody.
I would
Yeah.
run through till the very last place you'd have to go to, and then I think you just had to hit the like eye or whatever it was in the middle a bunch of times. I'd go there, I'd smash like as many times as I could, use all. But yeah, after my first playthrough where I literally had to abandon the character later because I wasn't doing the Oblivion gates full time. Second one, all I did was mainline the story, so I could do like all that stuff first,
Yeah.
just because of that.
The coolest thing about Oblivion, besides actually is the DLCs. Man, they had killer DLCs.
Yeah.
Knights of the
Knights of the
Nine.
Nine.
That like epic battle in the sky,
And Shivering Isles.
Shivering Isles was like that bizarre Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah,
Man,
that
that
place was
cool.
awesome. Yeah, that was I actually weirdly enough I loved the Oblivion one, but I don't even think I played the Skyrim DLCs like I should.
I
but-
played all of them. They're cool.
Okay, yeah, I've heard the main one is the best, like the third.
Dragonborn?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the first one, the vampire one's whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so what game are you looking forward to, Josh? Original Xbox game.
There's two, but they probably won't. Like, I would love to see these on the not remastered, but backwards compatible. There's one called Armed and Dangerous. Did you guys ever play that?
No.
And you had like there's
That sounds
this.
familiar.
Dude, I can't even remember who made it, but they have this like rocket launcher that fires out sharks, and they go under the ground and they come up and eat your opponents.
Armed and Dangerous. Is it a multiplayer game? Or
No,
like-
it's a single player game, but it was. I remember it being really funny to play. Like it was the first time I'd like that Borderlands style gameplay that I had seen that. And the other one was, do you guys remember a game called Advent Rising? It was made by Glyph.
Yeah, I never
Glyph
got to play
Games.
it. It was a famous author, right? He wrote the story for it.
Right, and it was
There's
supposed to
some
be
advents that take place,
Advent.
and they rise.
Yes, and they rise. And
Oh, I'm looking Armed and Dangerous now. Donna, you've probably seen that one for sure. The guy with the robot. It's like an old.
yeah.
You guys played it? Dude,
No, I have
it's
not.
a lot of fun. But back to Advent Rising, that was supposed to be a major franchise for Microsoft, and then they closed down production.
Yeah, I'm curious who that author is now. Do you remember? It was let me see. I'm like looking it up. Orson Scott Card. Of
Oh,
course.
yeah,
the guy who
yeah.
did
That's right. Ender's Game.
Ender's
Yeah.
Game, yeah.
So yeah, it looked really cool too, but it came out like the end of the original Xbox life cycle, so I never played it.
Yeah, so they because they had a whole the next game was like they were working on. It's going to be called Advent Shadow, and they never released it because I think Glyph X, the studio that made it, shut down.
Yeah, I
And
mean it was a
then-
Majesco published game, so yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Majesco doesn't exist
Yeah.
anymore either.
So I would love to see that come back
Yeah.
in some form.
What was
but-
the Forgotten Realms game that was on Demon's Stone? I think
Oh,
oh.
I can't remember. They had
it's like a hack and slasher RPG kind of deal.
they originally had some pretty great RPGs on original Xbox. I mean, it was nothing compared to like the PlayStation 2, which was
because
it
what
was
they
competing with.
but the thing is the PlayStation 2 didn't have any Western really style RPGs.
Yeah.
And the Xbox didn't have any Japanese style RPGs.
Like I wanted to play. Do you guys remember a game called Sudeki?
Sudoku?
No, Sudeki.
Let me see.
It's like blue-haired chick, and it's like a third-person action RPG.
Sudaki?
Yeah, like here. Maybe that picture looks more familiar. I always wanted to play this because like the battles would have like.
You thought she was hot.
That's exactly it, bro. No, the battles could be fought in like third person or first person, and like there was like shooting. It looked really, really cool. I
Yeah.
never ended up getting into it. The original Xbox it had a lot of great games, but a lot of people started playing World of Warcraft at the time, so I kind of like I remember trading Doom 3 in, which I never have played yet, for World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Like so I ended up playing that and. But the game I love the most, I think, that I really, really, really hope goes backwards compatible is Jade Empire.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best
Ooh,
Bioware
yeah.
RPG.
I would hope they enhance that.
I hope they do too, because it might not hold up really well. But honestly, like looking back, it's either that or the original Mass Effect that are my favorite Bioware RPGs. Like Dragon Age, the first one comes pretty close, but I think it's maybe
Dragon Age would be up there for me. But
Yeah.
Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 1 to me is like Assassin's Creed 1, except that Mass Effect 2 and 3 are awesome. And Assassin's Creed 2 is awesome, but
Yeah.
3 is not.
yeah.
And
Well, I mean, now they're both kind of torn. Like, I guess in the end, Assassin's Creed had the last laugh because the last
Yeah.
Mass Effect was so bad. We'll see if they're able to recover from that
yeah.
ever.
Also, I read somewhere that in the new Assassin's Creed, not to backtrack, but
Yeah.
something we didn't bring up is
No, that's
that
fine.
they were going for some sort of Witcher 3. The side quests are
Yeah.
better than the main
I
story
was
bit.
reading that.
That's what they were
yeah.
supposed to do with Mass Effect. Also, everybody tries to do this and they can't ever seem to pull it off.
Yeah.
Like, I think the reason why Witcher does it so well is because they have such a big world to pull from. Because that writer probably wrote like 6 books or something like that.
There's more than 6. There's
Okay.
a lot of books.
So they have a lot of like
I
backstory
think
and
there's more than
lore.
6. I think there's like 6 main books,
Yeah.
and then there's like a bunch of side books.
I know they had some issues with like contracts and stuff. Do they still get access to his newer stuff? Can they base?
No,
things
there's no
off-
issues with the contract. The writer signed away the contract for all of his books be made into games for just a small
And
upfront
he's-
payment instead of getting
the
royalties.
games take place outside
Yeah.
of the books, though.
Okay.
Like as far as
But there are stories, I guess, that are kind of
That are-
taken.
that are connected.
Because
yeah.
I know he's super bitter about it.
Yeah, well, because he hates video games and he didn't realize Witcher 3. And if Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 is probably like, yeah, whatever. Witcher 2 was big, but like Witcher 3 is the one that they now have like money to make games.
Right.
yeah,
But yeah, any other big original Xbox games that you guys are like, man, I would kind of go back and play this because I know I don't do it very often because PlayStation 4 charges a lot of money for their PS2 enhanced games, but like $15 to $25 for those. But like I have a lot of fond memories of that console generation. You have the PS2, GameCube,
I still
original
have
Xbox.
most of my PS2 games.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I wish I could get all of those, like Radiata Stories and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
I never sold those because
Oh. Yeah, I have those too. I just don't really have the means or energy to plug in the PlayStation 2, find the old game.
yeah.
I wish they were more accessible. That's why I'm loving what Microsoft is doing now, and I'm hoping this goodwill brings them sales, because I want to have this console that I can always go and like, oh, I want to play this old game. Sure, I'll show a friend. Like this is the game. And now say I know we're working on some stuff with Super BS. Say we want to stream an old game. That's really easy. Like you can just do it from your Xbox One.
Yeah.
Like this isn't like, oh, we got to plug this thing through this and do that.
Yeah, definitely. I can't think.
Because like the other ones I was thinking of are like Metal Arms. It's like a third person action shooter type thing. Metal Arms glitch in the system. There's I love this game. I know everyone else hated it. It was called Brute Force. Like it had like 4-person co-op before that was like ever a common thing. And it's like third person like shooting game, and it was so cool, I thought at the time. Obviously it's not held up well, but it was a ton of fun. I'm just happy this is something that exists, because we don't we have not had the PC lifestyle where we can play games in the past. Any other big news stories this week that have caught your guys' eyes? The Nintendo one backing the GameCube controllers, and then they added video, which is cool, to some games on their console. But
Yeah, that's cool.
Can we talk a minute about Visceral Games?
oh wow, I forgot that happened recently.
Yeah. Frick.
Yeah, this has been a crazy video game.
Because I wanted to discuss this with you guys really bad. Do you think that this is going to be the end? Like they're trying to bring about the end of single player gaming?
I mean, I think they pretty much stated that they're done with
That
single-player
reminds me,
games.
in the credits of South Park,
Yeah.
there is a section of people, and like it's like, oh, art development or whatever, like coding and all that stuff. There's a section of people that just is under games as a service.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what they're going to do with that. Maybe they're going to add like Halloween-themed things on Halloween and stuff like that. Who knows? I mean, I'm okay with games as a service in a lot of ways, but
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy 15 does a good job of that. They
Yeah.
have, like, seasonal
for sure.
festivals and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
we also have to talk about that soon too. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about Visceral, because this is crazy, man. They literally stated, like, they didn't state in these exact same words, but like, we're pretty much done with single-player games. We're going to do multiplayer-only games because we love loot boxes. They didn't say that exact thing, but
This is the thing with that, though. Like, it sounds like they want everything going forward to be a Destiny-style game. But why wouldn't we
This
just
is EA.
EA? Yeah, why wouldn't we just go and play Destiny? Like, I think they're over.
Destiny's from Activision Blizzard.
Yeah,
Or not
and
Activision
I-
Blizzard.
and
Activision
also it's
Bungie.
Destiny doesn't have that much content, man. Like, they are trying to make their own Destiny Anthem. So,
right.
like, it's I don't know. Like,
Yeah, that's the worst thing. I mean,
I think they're overestimating the market for that, though. The desire for it.
I
you
think there's a lot of
imagine-
people out there, though. I'm not one of them, but the Destiny 2 fan club is pretty big. I want to say it sold a good amount of copies.
can we just dream for a minute back in the time when BioWare went up for sale and
Yeah.
Microsoft almost bought them?
That would have been awesome.
That would have been so much better. I mean, not. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I don't really have anything against multi-platform, so
No,
it's
no,
cool that
yeah,
other
it's-
people can play BioWare games.
You never know, though. Microsoft might have allowed it. Like, Minecraft is on every console, and Microsoft owns them too.
Yeah.
So like,
It's true. But man, if Dragon Age comes out and it's a multiplayer game, it can't be.
So it will, but I'm curious how much of the single player they'll retain.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be multiplayer now.
That-
They pretty much said. I just don't think it's going to be. Hopefully they'll make it as cool as they possibly can. I don't know what
EA
they'll
is the
do.
worst. I mean, Activision is the worst, but EA
Yeah,
is the
they're
worst.
pretty
That worries
bad.
me because
both of them.
like BioWare games like Dragon Age, like they are fun because they had an immersive story and you could play them by yourself. But it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like we're gonna be getting that anymore.
They don't
'cause-
care though. Like EA is like Budweiser. They buy up like a craft brewery for the name, and then they just replace it with shitty beer.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
It's I get that they have like shareholders and they're a massive company. They got to be very careful what they do. But
I don't know how Nintendo gets away with it because they have shareholders too that hate video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. You know, I think the way Nintendo gets away with it is occasionally they'll release a console like the Switch and it will sell, bonanza amount of money. So
And like the Dead Space franchise, like that.
yeah, man, they killed that too, and people loved those.
Yeah,
games.
they like that kind of redefined the action horror genre of gaming, and
Yeah, it followed the Resident Evil 4 kind of format.
Just
and-
as a quick aside,
Yeah.
not because anyone that's part of this cast texted us. This is a completely original thought here. I just want to thank the listeners for recent ratings, and I want to encourage you to keep rating and reviewing the show. Again,
we will actually
that
thank
was-
people seriously.
that was my idea.
that's
I was not.
100%.
We
I
will
was not messaged by an absent member.
Yeah, we will not.
of our board.
We will also
Thank you.
thank again. Yes, we really do thank you guys. We will thank more at the end too. That was awesome though. Yeah, it is. I'm bummed. Like not only did probably several hundred people lose their jobs, which is sad, but a game that sounded really cool, just like Star Wars 1313. I'm reading the Jason Schreier book.
How is that,
It's really good.
Jason? We love you.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we're hoping someday we can maybe talk to you. But we, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and he got to talk to people about that game. I haven't got to that story yet, but the book's awesome because he talks about different game stories and development. But it's Star Wars 1313 was like a cool idea, and they abandoned it. And so we thought, oh, this Visceral one, it's gonna be an Uncharted like game, but it'll be cool. It'll be a Star Wars universe set not first person, single player game. And now we no longer have those dreams. Like the
Right, 'cause
best.
the project is being moved somewhere else, right?
I think they're scrapping that one.
I hear that they're taking the stuff that they can keep, but they want to turn it into a more like multiplayer-esque
Lord.
type game. And this
Yeah, it's a
leads
bummer.
me. So there's a lot of Star Wars games that were very fun to play just by yourself. So you had like what's the
Shadows of the
Shadows
Empire.
of the
Yeah.
Empire.
Yeah.
The Jedi Knight Academy was cool. Some of those ones.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic that we
Knights of
just
the Old
mentioned
Republic
was like one of the.
especially, but that just goes to show you that we're not going to get any story-heavy Star Wars
Well,
games probably ever again.
Till 2020 or 2022, that's when their license runs out. Hopefully they won't get a renew, and hopefully somebody else will buy it.
Because
And that's the only thing we can hope.
They bid hard for that Star Wars.
I'm
contract.
hoping, we talk about this all the time just because we do really like Microsoft and how much fan goodwill they're creating. I would love it if Microsoft bought the Star Wars rights. I doubt they will. I think it's only gonna be a giant publisher who will make tons of money, but we'll see. I mean
Maybe it'll be Square.
that'd be cool.
Can you
Square,
imagine?
because Square got Marvel. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if it's exclusive, but they.
No, it's I forgot how they're sending it, but they're doing different games. Are going to different studios for Marvel.
But it's under Square.
Yeah.
And it's like a Square overseen project.
Now here's our hope that it's good Square and not iOS Square. We're not.
Didn't Square recently say something that they're rethinking their approach to games because of the big multiplayer loot?
I
don't think so.
don't. I hope not.
They randomly say stuff like that all the time.
They keep switching their narrative, like, oh, Bravely Default. Now we realize that people like this. Oh, this. Now we realize it's like
Yeah.
whatever is doing
they're
well
the
at the time.
constant, oh.
Just don't trust Square to do anything. If they make good games, awesome. Like Project Octopath looks amazing. We played it. We like it. So
I mean, it's going to be scrapped for a multiplayer 16-bit
Now you play as
RPG with loot
loot-based.
boxes.
all 8 players, you might run into each other, but we can't guarantee No Man's Sky. You maybe will run into each other on another planet. 2 people within one day show each other going to the same planet. No one's there.
Square is like the Beatles, and if in the Beatles, assuming they were still alive and together, they're seeing now that mainstream music that's popular is terrible dance and rap music.
Yeah.
And
that would-
they're like, oh, well, let's just do this for a while because this is successful. And then after everyone hates what they do, they're like, oh, we realize now that people just like the Beatles playing rock music.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, and I don't want to get off too far off track, but that is a great analogy. Like, I would be kind of worried if the Beatles were still doing music today, because I think that they might try.
Yeah,
to
if
do
all 4 of
popular
them were
stuff.
still doing music, that'd be creepy because 2 of them are dead.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, like, if they were still, like, I would be worried that they would try to do, like, the Coldplay thing, where, like, oh, you have some good early albums, and then
Hey, because
you make tons of
no
other
band
crap.
I mean,
has
Paul
ever
McCartney
done
still puts
that.
out records, and they're basically I mean, they just all have.
Paul McCartney sound. Yeah, I know, but there are so many bands nowadays who I mean, David Bowie was the one person who I felt like did it successfully. He would try different genres, but most of the time it'd be successful and cool, you know?
Because he approached everything very avant-garde seeming, so it was like, it was never like, oh, here's like David Bowie's like rap single.
Yeah.
It was like, here's like a really weird.
That's what made him popular, though, and so endearing.
His
is
rap
that-
single?
Not
His rap-
his rap single, but
You remember that?
the
Moon
fact
Man?
that he's played on all sorts of radio stations, you know? It's
Yeah,
not
well, he's
just
got
one
tons
style.
of genre. He's genre
Yeah.
bending for sure. But yeah, going to multiplayer games though in Square, Comrades got delayed till next month. The Final Fantasy 15
Yeah.
online multi. I'm curious. I'm assuming it's because it's not like finished and they have more to work on. But it was supposed to come out like this Halloween or like
Yeah.
right now too.
They only delayed it
I mean,
like
I
a
think,
week, I think.
you know,
A couple weeks. Yeah.
When they get it right, I'm not completely like terrified of the idea of Square making multiplayer games.
Yeah.
Because Square with a couple other companies, the only problem with Square for this is that they get it wrong occasionally, but they are amazing at world creation. Their narrative abilities have plummeted a little bit over the last decade or so. Not so, I mean, you know, I mean, I haven't seen there hasn't been, the really only real low point for me is Final Fantasy 13 too. But
Yeah.
but what I'm saying
You
is
never
that they
talked about
they,
how much you hate that game.
I know, but they the main thing I hate about that game is just that it made me because of that
This is for you, Dave.
I was stuck playing through it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
You're already committed.
yeah. But what I was gonna say is that they I mean, if there's gonna be a game, I mean, like Final Fantasy 14, it's a really cool world to play through, and it's why I always pick that over like well, I wouldn't say it's mechanically superior now, but like I played Final Fantasy 11 for a while, and World of Warcraft is easily like a better, more fluid game. But the world of Final Fantasy 11 is far more interesting to me than Blizzard worlds because I'm not very interested in
And
Blizzard
it
worlds.
looks cooler.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So Square, is potential for that kind of thing because they do create really cool worlds. Same even with like a much smaller company like Mistwalker.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, he creates really freaking cool worlds.
Yeah.
There's not a single game he's made, even if the game is just okay. There's not a single like RPG style game that he's made where the world at least isn't awesome.
Well, yeah, like Final Fantasy 15 multiplayer to me seems like it could be really cool. Because did you guys do the Adamantoise fight in 15? Like
No, I haven't done it.
It's stupid long and not very fun, to be honest. But if you had friends, like if you had friends doing like, you know, co-op with, it would probably be a lot more enjoyable. Because the main reason why it's boring is you need to like target points and you can't control all of the guys at once.
Will
So,
they give you that kind of accessibility though? To
We'll see. I mean, if they
I
follow
don't think that the multiplayer is going to invade the single player part of Final Fantasy.
No. But I mean, like, if they make fights like that in the multiplayer, like, and if they make like, I don't know what the multiplayer is yet. I didn't play the beta, but if it is hunts and things that are kind of fun to do,
Yeah.
it could be fun to level up a character and play with your friends.
That is kind of one of the big things with this kind of games as a service era is that a lot of the games that are really compelling, you know, like it's like this games as a service. Like in Final Fantasy 15's case, it's cool even if you like Final Fantasy 15 has a really cool world, you know, even if the story is messy.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't even get a chance to redo they changed some of the chapters too. We haven't even talked about whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't change them; they added to them.
Yeah, but I haven't even done that stuff either. But continue.
But
what you
yeah,
were saying
it's a
about the world.
really cool world. It's it's like intentionally modern, but with all of the fantasy elements. It's very cool in that sense. The lore is crazy, but not in a Kingdom Hearts way.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, everybody's heartlesses of each other.
everyone is just King Noctis split into three.
And this is his heartless. This is his nobody. This is
This is heartless as nobody.
Yeah, what was the unversed version? Did they have any of Sora's?
I don't remember because the unversed was
the dumbest
was
thing
dumb.
ever.
Guys, you are not convincing me to play these games. I keep debating it in my mind.
No, Kingdom Hearts is a lot of fun to play. You just kind of, as you get older and older, the narrative is harder and harder to stomach, but
Yeah.
the gameplay is
It's
still
just
fun.
it's like Kingdom Hearts is like the loot boxes of narrative. It's like just
got it.
constantly like it's instead of spreading out the plot and keeping it simple and effective
And clean.
yeah, simple and clean. Actually, that's good. It's just like, how can we condense it all into this crazy, like,
so much going on at once.
yeah, like Cartman's. Cartman. Oh, you haven't seen the updated one, but Cartman's like chalkboard of like the franchises in South Park of like how to have like phase 1, 2, and 3 of their superhero franchise.
Does he change it throughout the game? Because
but I won't say anything more. But just like all of the like, okay, your movie goes here and this movie goes here,
This is
and
the
like all
Netflix
the
special.
circles and like that's like what Kingdom Hearts is.
Yeah, that is. It's like a weird chart of this is the story. It somehow connects to this person here. No, I am excited for Final Fantasy 15 multiplayer. It may actually make me double dip and get on Xbox since that's what you guys have it on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it could be done
Plus,
really well.
Xbox One X enhancements probably come into the
Yeah,
15.
that's something we should at least discuss. I want to get one, but I cannot in my right mind pay $500 for it. I'm gonna at least wait for $100 price drop.
In order to fully experience, like I know Donna, you said you got a new TV, that's pretty sick. But for the rest of us, like we have to actually to fully experience what the Xbox One X has to offer.
But
the key word there is fully, because it will still perform better.
Yeah, they will. I forgot what it's called. It's not called downscaling. It's called upsampling or something like that.
Is there a
it takes your 4K down to 10.
Though? Like when
From what they've said and what I'm going to watch YouTube videos to check is they've said it will increase like load time speeds, which to me is one of the biggest things ever. Increase frame rate in games, which is huge. Like you'll notice that on a 1080p TV as well. Like you'll see less chugging and a lot of other things. And to me, that's worth it enough. I don't own a 4K TV. I don't even graphically, games are at a point now where they're already so good looking. I don't even know if I really care too much. Like, I mean, I say that every time and then games get better and better looking.
Yeah.
But if it increases the frame rate and increases the loading times where I'm not waiting 2 to 3 minutes to get through things, to me, that's already worth the purchase. I almost bought a solid state drive to plug into the Xbox years ago for Fallout 4 because I just couldn't stand the load times. So I'm going to watch some videos and see what people show against original Xboxes and that. But
yeah, I think for me, as with an Xbox One S, it's a little bit of a wait. Like
harder sell.
Right. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a harder sell because I think the enhancements are going to be worth it. But it's more of it's not going to be like I'm not day one rushing out or anything like that. But it's like a definite buy at some point.
Yeah, for me, like with my original Xbox One, where they had some controller connectivity issues where sometimes if you leave the controller off for a certain amount of time, it doesn't connect to the system. And like I had a buddy who had that and he bought Xbox One S, and I guess that never happens on the S.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it happens quite a bit. So I'll have to plug in the controller to get the system to recognize it at all. Yeah, like I want to get an Xbox One X. It's smaller, it's better looking, like it supposedly runs faster, but $500. I remember getting the original Xbox One, and then in March it was $400 with Titanfall and Kinect, and I'm like, I am an idiot. I got it just 4 months ago or 5 months ago with no games for $500.
But this is definitely more on the power heavy end of consoles.
Yeah.
Since it's the most powerful console. So I don't know what kind of price drops or bundles will deal. The main thing for me, because I have an Xbox One S, the trade-in value is pretty decent.
Yeah.
Probably stay
I probably
decent.
Can't even get 150 for mine probably at this point.
That will definitely lower the price of an Xbox One X for me. I just hope that in doing that, because the main thing I'm worried about is getting one and then transferring everything over to it.
Well, do you have your games on an external drive?
I think I have like 90% of them on an external drive.
So then all you do is just unplug and then push in, and the Xbox is so like smart with the stuff. As long as you log in, I think it even saves all of your save data too. So you just go in and download real quick and you're done.
Do you have to do the cloud? Because I know on the 360
you don't in the 360 you had to manually add to the cloud. The Xbox One, everything is added to their cloud storage.
Okay, because I know game saves are on the actual Xbox as well,
and they're added to a cloud system.
Okay,
so
cool.
Microsoft did something awesome. Whereas like PlayStation, to get that cloud functionality, you have to be a PS Plus member. Like it's not available to people who aren't that. Whereas I believe for Xbox, that's what they do. They own a ton of cloud services, so they're able to do that. Is there any other news? I mean, this has already been like a mega episode for us.
Shin Megami Tensei 5
totally forgot about that. Yeah, that
for
looks
Switch.
awesome.
Does look cool. I will probably pass. I'm just not sold on those games.
I mean, it's still a year out, man. You never know. Like, it might look really cool.
It's true.
Because I got 4, and I didn't play much of it, but I did enjoy the 8 hours or so I put into it.
I put in like an hour, and I did not really. I just didn't want to at the end. At the end, when it's like, once the game was out long enough, and you could have it summed up to you, it's like, this is a 100-hour game where it's mostly grindy, and it's this. It's just kind of like a. It's actually feels really good and stress relieving to just get rid of the game and be like, this is no longer on my backlog.
Yeah. Okay, so that news, real quick, because this is something we've brought up like a billion times on this podcast. Who's buying Skyrim on Switch? Because I'm leaning towards getting that.
Me.
I'm not.
You're not going to get it?
No.
I think
know.
I have to get it. I want to play it again.
If I was going to get Skyrim again, I'd get the enhanced.
But you can't I agree with you in a lot of ways because it's better looking.
I didn't like playing Zelda on handheld mode.
Really? I played tons.
That's why I stopped playing it when I was in the hospital.
I liked being able to play on the go. But for Skyrim, like, I'm gonna buy it, but I'm probably only going to play it if I'm traveling.
Really? I see Skyrim for me, like
Skyrim is just like the last kind of game I want to play handheld. So
the hard thing for me is I'm not sure if I'm gonna day one buy it or wait for a significant sale because I've already bought it. Like, I feel like twice now, I'm sure.
You know what would be the greatest thing of all time is if Dragon Quest XI comes to Switch, and
I think it will.
Docked version is the high graphic version. And when you pull it out, it's the.
Oh, that'd be really cool. The only negative with that would be like, what if you want to play it on the go, but in the the better. I mean, I agree with you though. That would be a really cool
That would just
idea.
be like a hilariously cool feature.
Yeah. If they actually literally could change the whole game in undocked or docked.
But I sat down because on Xbox they had like a play Skyrim remastered for free for a week
for a
or
weekend.
something.
Yeah, they do that all the time. There's so many good games that they'll let you play.
I played it and it was rad, and I also didn't really want to play it.
Yeah,
so
I hear ya.
I don't feel the need. Like my backlog, like every gamer's backlog, is still pretty significant.
Mine is stupid as well.
So it's like I don't want to play Skyrim on just on the Switch to play it on the go.
Yeah.
I played Skyrim to death, and I've done everything in Skyrim except for base building because that's bull. But
yeah. Well, we mentioned this on Mini BS, but the week it comes out is like stupid. It comes out where Doom comes out the 10th of November. LA Noire Remastered comes out the 14th of November, and Skyrim's the 17th, all for Switch.
Man, there's another game that was like, it was like a moment in my life where I'm like, you know
LA
what?
Noire?
If I sell this game, I won't feel bound to playing it one day.
Did you did play a lot of it, though, right?
I played it for a few hours.
How was it? I'm not going to get it, but I was just curious.
I just am not a fan of Rockstar games.
Really? I love Rockstar games. The thing that didn't interest me.
I did not play Red Dead Redemption.
Okay, that game's great.
So I won't say because it looks cool.
Yeah.
But like I've never really liked any Grand Theft Auto besides Vice City.
Yeah.
And
Vice City was amazing.
There's
soundtrack.
not really a lot of variation in Rockstar games.
No, there's not, but they're all fun and they're well made.
Yeah, well made. I mean, it's the same with. Well, actually, that's not true. I was about to say Blizzard, but they have a lot of different types of games they make. They're all like finely tuned.
Yeah.
And Rockstar games are definitely finely tuned as well.
Yeah, and I totally understand why people don't like them because they are very similar. And if that's not what you're feeling, like that's their games. But I definitely would have to say most of them are fun. The only thing that turned me off to LA Noire is it looked like a really slow paced
very slow game. Yeah.
And I just, as we talk about with backlogs, I just don't have time to be like, oh, let me spend 2 hours looking over this crime scene.
I think any game that comes out and the selling point that the marketing tries to get you on is like technology. I think those are never good because LA Noire was all about the facial technology they used to capture voice like performances, and like that's not an excuse to make a boring game. Like, oh, but look at the facial motions.
So we won't be able to do a big topic today, but I'm just curious, just off the top of your guys' heads, what games are you buying by the end of this year? Because I'm getting Odyssey for sure. Probably
Odyssey tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna get PUBG when it comes out. That's
I'm looking
a game
forward to that a lot.
But otherwise, I can't. I'm like on the fence about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I don't know what you guys are thinking about that. Like, I kind of want to get it, but I'm gonna wait a lot closer.
I'm still hoping for a surprise announcement of Xenoblade Chronicles 1.
That'd be cool.
ported to Switch.
That'd be awesome.
Because man, I want to play that game again so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've never played the old ones. I'd love to go back and
The
play
Xenoblade
those.
Chronicles 1, those last couple RPGs on Wii, Pandora's Tower, which is less of an RPG and more of just kind of a weird Japanese game, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Last Story, which is incredible.
Yeah, I
and
want to play that
Xenoblade-
on something.
Xenoblade Chronicles, which is also incredible. Man, they nailed that like really evocative feeling that like a good JRPG does without them being like overly cheesed up.
Yeah.
Even Xenoblade has like a pretty solid legacy, like those games, Xenogears and what's the PlayStation 2 series? Xenosaga.
Xenosaga. Yeah,
Yeah.
those were great. I
There's like
played one.
they're always just like these weird pseudo-religious games, like
Yeah.
very bizarre and very kind of like heavy. I think again that I think the design of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to be more cartoony, I think that's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
It still looks cool, but the characters in particular look very uninteresting
Yeah.
because they just look like, like, oh, I've got armor that's not attached to my body and I'm just wearing underwear. Like,
Yeah.
Judging by the trailers, it looks
Boobs
like
McGee.
it's sort of whiny. Like the
Yeah.
characters are gonna
but I know the world is going to be cool because
Yeah.
that world is cool, and I know the music's going to be good
Yeah,
again.
there's no J-pop,
There's
which is good.
no J-pop guy doing the freaking music. Gosh, that was the worst thing.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
man. But is there any other game that you guys like? I might pick up Okami on the HD re-release on Xbox,
Yeah,
like in December. I'm not
Mario
sure.
Odyssey, Okami would be a maybe. There's a game I played a ton of, but
If it
never
was on
actually,
Switch, it would be a for sure for me. But because it's Xbox, it's maybe.
yeah, it might just be Mario Odyssey at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of great games. Like, there's still plenty to choose from. Obviously, we talked about Assassin's Creed, Wolfenstein, a bunch of others. But there's nothing that's really sticking out to me like, oh, man, I need this.
I
See-
probably will get Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah.
but
It comes out at a time where, like, there's nothing else around it, so it's a good time to release December 1st.
Like, I'm looking at what I'm buying in terms of what I'm going to have time to play.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to rush out and build up my back catalog when it's going to probably, like, to play through Mario, to play through Assassin's Creed. Like, that'll probably last me into December.
I bet you anything Mario will take 2 weeks. I've played a lot of Mario games, and they're just so much fun that you just rush. You end up just playing a ton of it, and I bet it's not going to take that long.
'cause, like,
I bet it's a long
I
game,
mean,
but
South Park took me 5 days.
yeah.
I read that Mario Odyssey is like a 15 to 20 hour, but then there's a lot to do after you beat it.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, because like because I remember like the last Mario, the Nintendo 64 Mario. Like I obviously I was a kid and I had a lot of time to play right then. But like now I only have time to play games maybe for 2 hours
Called
before I
Assassin's
go
Creed,
to sleep
yeah.
at night.
You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
Assassin's Creed. Yeah.
The Mario on Wii U was really incredible. I think the biggest downfall to that was the forced multiplayer. It's not forced,
Yeah.
but it's like to unlock all of the game's secrets, it's like you had to beat the game with every single character, which is easy when you're playing with 4 people the whole time. But when you're playing as one person, then you have to go through all of the levels
Yeah.
4 times.
Yeah, that was a dumb idea from
Yeah.
them, but
It was cool in Super Mario 3D Land when it was just going through it with Luigi.
yeah, just like 2 people, it wasn't so bad. Real quick, is there anything else you guys want to add for the episode? Because we got a little bit of house cleaning to do.
I'm trying to think. There was
Housekeeping,
was
I guess.
definitely more news this week.
I know we might need to save some of it though, just because we're already at like an ultra BS for us at least. We're like in an hour. We'll probably have like an hour of 30 minutes. I don't know how much more people want to listen to us blather, but we will hopefully do this soon. There's just a lot of stuff going on. Is there any
Let's
other
talk about
news?
that word, blather.
Blather. Let's blather on.
Is that like plethora?
Plethora. No, I mean there's some cool stuff. So Humanican Media has a Super BS webpage, right?
Yeah, if you go on humanicanmedia.com, we have Super BS has their own page on there.
Is
so you
there
just-
a URL that they can get to directly to that, or? do you know?
I will put it up on our Facebook page
Okay.
and Instagram too, so you guys can kind of check it out.
Okay. As you guys know, we've been doing kind of little short form, just talking to some people who have traveled around in mini BS, just some old friends and family of the show. You guys can check those out. Those are kind of like, I don't know, every other week, every few weeks. We're going to try to get back to again regular on the Super BS, so thanks for sticking with us. We've been having some interviews recently. I just got to talk to Andy Schatz from Pocket Watch Games about Tooth and Tail. That game is awesome. I wish we had more time to talk about that alone. The artwork's amazing. It looks like, Red Wall, communism, Red Wall, war game. That went up last week.
Yeah, that went up last week.
Yeah.
It's really good. My favorite interview that you've done so far is the Two Ravens guys.
Oh, Two Ravens are cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
the first one? Really? You like the first one the most?
The people talking were just interesting. I don't like.
Well, Westo Loathing dudes are pretty cool too. They Zach and Kevin from Asymmetric. But no, Andy Schatz was awesome, man. I mean, they have a huge game, and he took his time to took time out of his day to talk.
I liked how he's talked about all of his experience. So like how he kind of helped create the indie genre. Like he sounds like he really cares about games and knows like what he's doing and knows his place in the industry.
Yeah, he's done like a couple Sims too, which were really weird, like Venture Africa and Venture. He did a whole lot of stuff. We should maybe have something coming up next week with the guys from Team Colorblind. They made a game called Aztez. It's a PC only like side scroller.
I remember what I wanted to talk
action
about.
game. Okay, and then we're gonna have one last thing after this before we end. But yeah, it looks really, really cool. I'm excited to talk to them. I read about them. Their game didn't actually sell as much as they had hoped, only because it came out on Steam with, I want to say, 40 other games the same day. And yeah, it's a really cool game. It was really well reviewed by people who checked into it, but it was just too hard. It came out too busy of a season. So we're supposed to talk to them this week. Donna, you had some news, and we'll have more housekeeping stuff in next week too.
Yeah, it was not really news. I just wanted to bring up, have you guys heard of the game Elix or whatever?
Oh, Elix. Oh,
Elix.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
looked cool, but I heard it's trash.
I haven't heard that it's trash. I've just heard
Gothic
that it's
guys.
but it looks really fascinating. Like
Yeah.
the trailer for it looks really cool, and I'd never heard of it.
Oh, really?
I just randomly saw it on Xbox. Like games coming out soon.
I saw it. They had an E3 trailer. I think that was all they had, but it was
okay.
only it was kind of as advertised as well as. Do you guys remember the Technomancer by Spider Games?
Yeah.
It was kind of like advertised like
but
that.
Technomancer is technically an indie game, right?
Yeah. Well, so is Elix.
I thought Elix is made by the team.
It's THQ Nordic.
Yeah.
makes it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's published by them. It's done by the guys who made Gothic, though.
Yeah.
And that's not a huge.
I haven't
game
seen
series
anything
at all.
for this game. It actually kind of
Oh, it looks amazing, but
cool.
it's the
Yeah.
problem is I guess it's buggy. I don't know. It's one of those games where like Technomancer, which I own and haven't got a chance to play yet. Like I will definitely pick up when it's on sale just because it looks cool, you
Yeah.
know, and I want to like support those guys, but I just can't drop 60 on a
It's
on
like
a game
a-
this season.
It's like a Mad Max type RPG, fantasy RPG. That looks rad.
Well, it covers all like sci-fi, fantasy, like everything. The
Yeah.
biggest complaint I've heard is that it's not viable to play the game through with guns. Like you have to play the game through with melee. From what I understand, like the gun play just isn't like strong enough. Anything else before we go?
No.
That's it.
Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be back pretty soon. Peace.
That's to us people that can feel things. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts.